There really is no better way to see a battlefield than actually doing it on foot. It's wonderful to be chauffeured around the battlefields in an air-conditioned coach. Fantastic, lovely. You see a lot of stuff. But the true way to see a battlefield is the way that the soldiers saw it in the Great War. Nothing shows you how vulnerable you were on the top of a hillside, where you were safe, where you were sheltered. You can feel the pull of it up on your calf muscles as you're going up some of the slopes here up the Passchendaele Ridge. It truly is incredible. There is no better way. To make the Great War work as a period of history, you have to suspend your period and you have to try and put yourselves back in the boots of the men who were alive at that period. Their mind frame, their mindset, it's the only way it works. These are very gentle strolls. We joke, we quip that, you know, this is not a battle fitness test. We had people comfortably do these walks in their 70s and 80s. As long as you've got a reasonable general level of fitness, these walks aren't going to tie you in any great shape or form.
This morning was an eye-opener going up the mountain, but this afternoon, doddle. Yes, I would recommend it to anybody.
You can see with the way they lay out farms here, they're not far apart.
No. What I think people get from a tour of this nature is that hopefully they will be filled with admiration for the soldiers that fought here. They've already arrived with that, but having seen the ground and the conditions and heard how these men fought and died, I hope they take away a greater understanding.
Just for your thoughts as you go around, because you will go in and out many cemeteries in this next 3 days, but these 2 points I want to make to you, they are very personal when you get to know the stories and the people that are buried in them.
I think you've got to come and experience it. You've got to actually stand where the soldiers stood and try and feel what they were feeling in those last minutes before they probably lived or died. And I think if people were more aware of that, a bit like going to visit Auschwitz maybe wars would not happen anymore, because people say, no, we won't do it. But it's just the courage of these men, you've got to come and honour it, never forget it. And I think, you know, doing a trip like this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
They were on the Somme. You've been to the Somme?
No, this is our first trip.
You do tend to find on the walking tours, Leger of course do a range of coach-based tours, many use those tours as their introduction. They may have gleaned some interest from reading birdsong, from watching a documentary on the TV, or you will find that they have some family interest. That tends to be their first port of call. If you want to come back, you can't get enough, and the best way to come is to see it on foot. Specifically about the flyers, and it's very good on these then and now bits. You basically go to all intents and purposes what is a field, but then using some contemporary photographs and he's reproduced it with a map. In an area like this, you're pointing out the lie of the land. For instance, we've just passed what to many people would look like in an incongruous fence post, but it's actually one of the screw pickets that held the trenches, the wire in front of the trenches in the First World War, and they're on these sleepy lanes, and it's the thing you'd miss on a coach, but you don't miss it when you're on foot.
They're still extracting about 200 tons of unexploded munitions every year. You find these bits and pieces everywhere on the battlefields. They come to the surface when guys, you know, when they irrigate the land or when they plough or when they sort of harrow the land. You'll find them out, but obviously we need to make sure they're safe and empty, and you know. It was just there. It was just beside me. I was actually looking for just to see if there's anything around. You know, we found a bit of barbed wire over here. There you go, a little bit of World War I, eh?
Yeah.
People aren't advised to play with that kind of stuff. We point out the dangers of it straight away. But it's everywhere. The Great War is actually part of the fabric of this environment around here. People see it every day.
It's the third one I've done similar to this, and I always learn something different every time. You know, I'm an ex-soldier, I come from a military family, and my grandfather served in this area, so I find it quite fascinating.
And how are you finding the guides? Are they?
Oh, terrific! Yeah, I've had them before, so I know you're going to get top service there. Yeah, they're very knowledgeable.
All buried in 4 or 5 rows.
What I think people take away from a tour of this nature is hopefully a deeper understanding of the conflict on a general level, but on a personal level, the Great War, it's one of my many sayings, is that the Great War affected every family in the land, and it's all our history. I guarantee any of us sat on this coach, if you do your family history, you just couldn't avoid the Great War. You are literally following in Grandad's footsteps. There is something different and so precious about a tour of this nature. It really is.